Good day, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dugout Podcast. I'm Andrew, alongside my co-host Marissa, and today's show we'll be discussing all things Chelsea, from Raheem Sterling to Romelu Lukaku. Stay tuned. I think you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think next season the top two will stay the same.
Of course it will.
I know it's not off first thing you'll get Raheem Sterling.
Look, you know what? That is actually a nice segue into probably the most painful part of this episode, which is discovering Chelsea's transfer business or lack thereof. Chelsea's not going to finish in the top two next season. I can literally guarantee that. So yes, the top two will remain the same. So Chelsea have spent a whopping £0 and have received a whopping £0. Honestly, football Twitter is on a meltdown over Chelsea because we are seeing City doing business, we're seeing Liverpool doing business, you're seeing Arsenal and Spurs spending money, and people are wondering what's wrong with Chelsea. But I like to follow the journalists and the people that actually provide the correct context. I am willing to be a little bit more patient this transfer window because people seem to remember that the club was just bought. People have to remember that we've been under sanctions for months. Transfer deals don't just go through at a drop of a hat. Background work is done. And we lost a lot of ground because of this whole Roma being sanctioned by the UK government thing. So I am willing to be patient. We're also losing a lot of backroom staff. Chet has gone. Marina has gone. So I'm willing to be patient. I'm still annoyed because I really believe some deals should be further along by now. Yes, today it broke that we are great personal terms with Sterling, but I was hearing Sterling to Chelsea was close for like 2 weeks now. And it ain't get over the line yet. That's a bit annoying. But Sterling to Chelsea. I know Sterling is a bit of a sore point for my fellow co-host as a Liverpool fan.
No, he's not.
But I would. Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I mean, if you do buy a Chelsea, it's all straight, but
of course you will. Of course you will. So this was a sign I wasn't overly excited about, but I have definitely come around to being on board with it. I think that I'm on board with it for a lot of reasons. One, this is an interesting period at Chelsea because I think Tuchel is relatively safe in his job for now, which is unusual to say about a Chelsea manager. I also think that this is the first time that you're actually seeing a manager being involved in actually proactively choosing the people that he wants. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are talking about in terms of Chelsea closing the gap to City and Liverpool. The difference is Klopp and Pep have had time to build on their projects. We've never had a manager that we can build a project with. You know, Roman is always quick to sack. So it'd be interesting now if this could be the start of an actual project for Chelsea, because I think other than Tuchel's first window was last summer, where Lukaku was brought in, and I'm sure we'll get to that debate shortly.
Of course.
But other than that, this is his third transfer window, and the first time we couldn't sign people in January. Actually, could we? I can't even remember. But he's actually being actively back. He's actually choosing his target. So that's why, even though I'm not overwhelmed by some of the names that we've been linked with, I am still gonna be patient and trust my manager. I think Sterling to Chelsea is going to be a decent signing, probably more than decent. Sterling comes with the PL experience, the pedigree. From all that I've heard, the top journalists say Sterling is a very good leader in the dressing room. And I think more than replacing players we've lost, like the Rudigers and stuff, we need leadership in that dressing room. We could be losing our club captain as well. So bringing in somebody not only with experience and that can score goals, but also have that off the field and in the dressing room presence is going to be important for the squad going forward. So I don't mind the signing, and I'm looking forward to see what he does in a Chelsea shirt. I don't know what I don't know what else to comment on because, as I said, we bought nobody. The most I could comment on is the stuff that has been floating around. Everybody knows that Chelsea has had a bid. In fact, before I go on to the other targets, let me hear your thoughts on Sterling because I am very intrigued by your thoughts on Sterling to Chelsea.
Young Raheem. Well,
Not yet, not young anymore.
I used to call
I
him Young
remember
Raheem.
your former manager called him the best young player in the world when he was at Liverpool.
Man, Brandon Rodgers is talking about. But anyway, no, Raheem is a good player. I rate Raheem. And I when I say things about Raheem, or when I've said things about Raheem tonight, or what's not, and made a little chuckle or what's not, I have just been joking. I haven't really been, saying it sincerely when it comes to Raheem. But I'll be sincere for a moment now with Raheem. I agree with everything you said. I think Raheem is, proven Premier League pedigree, and that's what he's bringing. He's a proven, outstanding player in the Premier League. I think they had like a 2 year, 3 year spell at City where he was really, really good. He really improved under Pep Guardiola.
Definitely.
My only issue is, and it's interesting that you said that Raheem is a leader in the dressing room.
According to some journalists, because I know nobody, man, but according to top journalists, he's a good leader.
I mean, I think Raheem will get a lot of plaudits in that respect because Raheem has been involved in, some of the racial, debate and stuff like that, in the country in terms of football and stuff like that. He's spoken out about it. Mm-hmm. So I feel as though that will sort of shape people's opinions of him as a leader and, whatever the case may be, in terms of someone who stands up for good causes, etc., etc. Almost similar to Marcus Rashford. But my only question with Raheem is not about his ability as a player. I think Raheem is quality, right? Skillful, pacey, whatever the case may be. Here's my issue with Raheem. I think at Manchester City under Pep Guardiola, I think that Raheem Sterling, what I want to say, I think Raheem Sterling essentially
is one of many. He's not like the main guy.
Not necessarily one of many. Because there was a period that I would say that I don't think he was ever the main guy, but he would have been one of their main guys, or like number 2. Right? It was a period when he was on form and he's really, his numbers are really improved from a goal scorer and an assist point of view. But I feel as though the way City played and the amount of goals that City naturally score and chances that they naturally create, I feel as though Raheem, although he's in the forefront, it still would have felt for him to me as though he's, in the, he allowed to just do his own thing and not necessarily take on the burden of the team. You know what I'm saying? Like, we not depend on Raheem to score me this winning goal. If he scores it, great. But he's not seen as I don't think he was ever seen as City's key, pivotal figure, key man. Right. Going to Chelsea, I think at Chelsea, especially with what happened with Lukaku, and when you think about the other attacking players that Chelsea have, the Mason Mounts and the Christian Pulisic's and the Hudson-Odois and the Hakim Ziyech or whoever else it is, Timo Werner, for example, those guys don't have incredible numbers in a Chelsea shirt from a goal scoring point of view. So I feel as though going to Chelsea, I think Sterling is going to take on more of a burden, right? And really be seen as Chelsea's potential talisman. What I don't like about Sterling sometimes when he's playing in that position is that sometimes I don't feel as though he's assertive enough. It's almost like I think Sterling is a confidence player. I think he needs to have the support of his manager and the belief.
Okay.
So I feel it's going to be more case of the Sterling feel internally that I can, lead this Chelsea attack or lead this Chelsea team.
Okay, well, according to some reports, he has some very interesting conversations with Tuchel, which convinced him to join in terms of how Tuchel plans to use him. Right. So I don't know if that will fit in, if that will probably give him, like you said, the confidence that he needs to just go and express himself. But I agree. I think that I don't think he can do it on his own. He can't. I know the rumors are Chelsea wants to bring in at least one other attacker, which means someone else has to leave. I know that Ziyech is currently in talks to go on loan with an obligation to buy to AC Milan.
Right, I heard that as well.
I know, right. But I know for sure if somebody else comes in, likely somebody else leaves, and that person is looking like Timo Werner right now. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
But
my only thing
I
with
do understand what you're saying though. Go ahead.
yeah, my only thing with Sterling though is that like sometimes, for example, Sterling would shoot a shot or take a shot, and it's like he took the shot, and it's like he took the shot hoping that he scores. I want to see
Not
Sterling.
actually
I think he gets that
believing
bet.
that he, okay,
Yeah,
I understand.
I want to see take the shot like you hoping that you're gonna score. I want to see you believing that you're gonna score. You know what I'm saying? It's
Okay,
like so
right.
he's saying he's be tentative.
Okay, I
He
understand.
can be. Although he had a good European Championship for England for sure. And like I said, there was a period at City where I felt like as though he was making that transition. You know, because I am a shoot the ball. You remember early days, it's be like innocently you shoot the ball and it looked feeble. You know, like he really putting a lot of power behind it because he didn't really expect that he can score, or
Right.
he really play with conviction. That's the word. So like I want to see. I think that Chelsea would need him as a talisman to really play with conviction, believe that this is me, right? I can do the same. I can do the same type of business and damage that I do at Manchester City. Um, and that's my only question mark about Sterling, but we will see how it goes. I don't think he'll be a flop. I don't think he'll be a failure. And I agree with you. I do think that y'all would need another attacker, or y'all would need improvement from someone that's already there at the club to really complement him and give him some help.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think one of our biggest things, I know we talked in our own personal conversations about the amount of rotation that Tuchel does and not having that synergy and chemistry in the team. But as I told you already, I feel like that is also hampered by the durability of my forwards. Like one thing I've read in the reports recently is that one thing that impressed Tuchel and what made Sterling one of the reasons that Sterling was our number one attacking target is because he's incredibly durable. When you
Mhm.
look at our attackers, Ziyech plays 3 games. Like Ziyech has had 2 preseasons with Chelsea and ended both preseasons on the injury table after having decent starts to the preseason, and that's the story of Ziyech's Chelsea career. Same thing with Pulisic. Man will be on fire, hamstring give out. Timo had a shocking season as well, generally, but also with injuries. Kai was injured at a point in time. Our forwards are not durable enough, and that for me is a problem as well. So I will be interested to see if we do get another attacker, who would that be? But it has to be somebody that could at least string a consistent run of games together. I think when you look at the other parts of the squad, our midfield needs work. I know that there are whispers that we will buy Declan Rice, probably coming up to the end of this summer. I don't know. I don't know where our budget is going to come from with that. But I know that Tuchel wants Rice, and Rice seems to want Chelsea. That would be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. But I do think that more than that, we need cover. I know everybody talks about we need to replace our centre backs, and that is true. But I really need Chelsea to make some moves when it comes to our fullback slash wing back area. I honestly believe that this isn't something that's talked about enough, but the injuries to James and Chilwell really impacted Chelsea's season last year. I mean, we went from 22, 23-year-old James and 24-year-old Chilwell flying up and down the flanks to almost 30 and over 30 Marcos Alonso and Cesar Azpilicueta as our wing backs. And that affected our play. And we really, I mean, both of them might be on the way to Barca, who seems to want to buy everybody in Europe despite being bankrupt. I don't get it. But they are probably out of the club soon. We really need some cover in that area because Chilwell is not out of the woods with this ACL injury. He's made a remarkable recovery, but we can't expect too much. And James' fitness has been up and down over the last year or so. So we really, really need those defensive reinforcements. And that's where I get a little nervous because I would have liked to see more business done at this stage because we leave on our preseason tour, I think, the end of the week. And I would have liked to see more players in by now. I understand the difficulties we've had, but I still would have liked to have new signings have time to gel with the team, etc. But I don't know. I'm trying not to get worried but I just see a lot of holes in our squad that kind of need filling, in my opinion.
Mm. Well, I okay. So I think I told you for the most part of last season, I think Chelsea's biggest issue was that your team doesn't
Scoring
have enough
goals.
goals in the team, right?
Right.
When you look the amount of goals that Chelsea scored last season, they were never going to finish above Liverpool or Manchester City, scoring that amount of goals. You need more
Right.
goals. No, I've seen games with Chelsea where they've created enough chances to score more goals, but there wasn't anybody, reliable to consistently put the ball in the back of the net.
Right.
You bring Sterling. I think Sterling will improve your goal return. But Sterling again is not a natural goal scorer either, so
Exactly.
he's going to miss some chances too, as every striker does. I take your point on the injuries to the forward line, but I feel like Chelsea forward line. I feel like there's an opportunity there for someone to grab it by the scruff of the neck and say, "Well, this shirt is my shirt."
I
But I don't
agree
think anybody has
100%.
ever done that because I
For
think
me,
Mason Mount, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi, I think all of them largely for the last 2 years or 18 months have been interchangeable.
I agree. And for me, that person is Christian Pulisic. I am a huge fan of Pulisic, but man, when he's fit and firing, he's a top player for me. But gosh, he misses so many chances. I still have nightmares about those chances he missed against y'all in the cup finals this year. Like, for me, he has that potential. He has that ability, but for whatever reason, and I think that's why Chelsea are more keen to hang on to him than Timo. But gosh, I just sometimes it's frustrating dealing or watching Chelsea play sometimes. It really is.
I don't know.
He's so
I like. Okay, the point of Pulisic. I think Pulisic's got facets to the game that he needs to improve though, and they should have been improved already. Like for example, I think sometimes Pulisic's last ball or
Yes,
decision making
yes, his
can be
decision
erratic.
making is yes. I agree 100%.
I
A
think he of
hundred
age
percent.
know that he need to be improving. Right? I say he got perfect attention, but
Exactly.
I gotta be seeing a bit more, better finish and product from than what he's seeing from you, on a consistent basis.
But he
Um,
has the ability. That's the frustrating part. He has the ability. It's just, I mean, for me, talent is one thing in football, but the real elite footballers make the best decisions at the best times. And
right,
he's just not at that level right now.
the best man has made the best decision in key moments, or more consistently than others, from an offensive
Right.
and a defensive point of view. Um, Timo Werner, I didn't really know what to say about Timo because this honestly this is not what I expected. I didn't see even if he wasn't a success. I didn't foresee it going as badly as it has in terms of his goal return. Like, and he's very
Neither did
erratic. It's almost like snatching at the chances instead of just doing what comes naturally to him.
I
I
agree.
think it's a confidence thing though. I believe that the start of his career at Chelsea and how it went, I feel as though that knocked his confidence a lot.
Probably, but it ain't seem to be coming back at all.
But I mean,
I don't understand.
I wouldn't sell him outright though. I would more like to loan him and see how it
Hmm.
go, because he's still young. I would probably loan him and then bring him back and give it a try again.
Don't get me wrong. I actually love Timo, you know. There's something about Timo. I mean, and we should probably use this opportunity to segue into the Lukaku discussion, but I love Timo's attitude. Yes, his decision making sucks. Yes, his touches suck. Yes, his shots suck. A lot of his game sucks. But the man has an attitude where he just never stops running. I remember I saw this comment from Mount where he was like, he and another teammate was laughing on the bench because Timo had missed a sitter. And Timo didn't sulk. Timo literally got up and sprinted right to the halfway line to get back the ball. That is the sort of attitude that's the sort of thing that I love about Timo. Unlike some people that on 300 plus K a week, and when things don't go their way, they're dropping their heads, their shoulders slump, they're moaning and complaining, giving interviews and want to go back to the former team and all sorts of nonsense. Like, give me the attitude of Timo Werner any day over the attitude of he who shall not be named.
Well, I ain't name me if you don't want any. We talking about
Yeah.
Romelu
You
Lukaku
know
now.
what? All right. First, before we before we get into discussion, I have to let our viewers Got me saying viewers as if people are watching us on TV. Anyways, I have to let
No.
our listeners know something. On the
Uh-huh.
29th of May, 2021, me and this gentleman being Andrew, my co-host, sat at a booth in Bubba's. And Mr. Andrew Catwell said to me,
Mhm.
buying Romelu Lukaku again would have been the biggest mistake Chelsea Football Club made. 29th of May 2021, the day Chelsea won the Champions League final, before any deals went through, you called that this transfer was a mistake. And
I,
you have been proven right, sir. I
I tell
have
you
to
that. I
give
tell
you your
you.
props for that.
But thank you. But I tell you up front, the man are good. But yeah, I feel that. I feel like, we just feel that when I say things. I mean, honestly, right? I don't all be right. I'm a guru, but
Yes, we know
I
you're
know,
not always right.
I know, I hear the blast are good.
Look,
I can tell you that from
come on, nobody could have foreseen this going
I
so
try being harsh.
horribly.
It's not that, but it's not that Lukaku ain't good enough. It's that he's not a striker that I would want on my team. If I was a coach or executive or what, start making decisions. I don't know if it was saying Lukaku because when I look at Lukaku's track record, and it all began, for example, when Lukaku was at Chelsea the first time. I think he would have been at Chelsea when he won Champions League in 2012, correct?
Right, because he missed the pen in the Super Cup in
Right.
that season.
I saw a quote. I remember I saw a quote with him saying that on the plane home in the bus or what's not or whatever the case it be, and someone handed him the Champions League trophy to celebrate or join
I
celebration.
remember that. I
He was
remember
like,
that.
he didn't feel a part of it, so he whatever the case it be. I get that because you can look at it as a positive in terms of, well, yeah, this guy has a drive to be a success. He wants to be more than just party squad and get a medal. He wants to actually be a key component in the starting 11. And you can feel that way. You're allowed to feel that way. But come on, to tell somebody, don't rest your trophy on me or what's not, and show that type of, um, angst or a little bit of, whatever the case be, whatever you want to call it, to show that sort of vibe in immediate aftermath of a Champions League victory, the first that the club has ever won, I think was a little bit, insightful into his character in terms
I
of
agree.
I
I
feel
agree
that
100%.
in key moments he's all about self and not team, right?
Exactly. And that's why I've been trying to tell. I know we've had our conversations about this, and for our listeners, just to summarize quickly, we both believe that everybody has to share blame. Although I put more of the blame on Lukaku than Andrew does. But for me, this is why I just I just have lost patience with the man. His attitude overall is not very good. It's like your selfishness shows itself in everything you do. Yes, as a striker, you should be selfish on the pitch. Everybody knows that. But Lukaku cares more about himself than he ever did about, to me, any club he ever played for. And you can't have that sort of mentality when you're part of a team sport. Like for me, I look at that period after the interview. Many Chelsea fans were like, you know what, I done with this man. I was willing to give the man a chance. But it's like his attitude, Andrew, for the 6 months after sucked. And for me, you cannot have. Where's your professional pride? Where's your pride to say, you know what, I want to show people that I am one of the best or the best striker in the world? Not saying that he is, but this is our attitude that I assuming his huge ego would have. I want to show people I am the best striker in the world. I am gonna go here and I'm gonna just buy in goal after goal after goal. But instead, missing sitter after sitter. When chances come, you're not where you're supposed to be in the box. You static. Your movement is ridiculously non-existent. Like, where is the professional pride to say, I don't want to be here, but I can try to make it work for the period that I am till I can leave and go back to my precious Inter. But he cared more about his feelings being hurt over a few little comments that Tuchel made than giving his all for the team. And that is where, for me, I am personally done with Lukaku. I know he on loan, quote unquote, but we both know he ain't coming back to Chelsea. Not as long Tuchel's the manager, anyways.
Well. Well, I mean, anything can happen in football, right? I would say welcome back Chelsea, but because I did is all about who willing to pay the fee that Chelsea want to recruit for him, right? Unless you
Because
want to
Saudi is
loaning and loaning.
I am convinced the club has already written that off, to be honest.
Fair enough. But here's my thing. Lukaku went to when he left Chelsea, he played for West Brom on loan, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
They were at West Brom.
First.
They went to Everton permanently on a permanent transfer, and that's where we've really seen him because Liverpool played Everton. They definitely watched him Merseyside derbies when he was at Everton. And I don't recall him actually scoring against Liverpool in any of those games. And I think Liverpool wasn't the Liverpool that they are now. So I didn't really from watching him play, I didn't really think he was like a top class striker per se. I definitely thought Harry Kane was better still. So nothing happened to change my mind. But I'm not going to say he's complete crap because I think a guy who has scored the amount of goals that he has scored is not a poor player. I just think that he has a bad attitude. I think he excels when everything's built around him, as it was at West Brom, as it was at Everton, as it was at Inter for a large portion of it, or to a large extent.
Right.
I think when he has to go and then try to fit in something that doesn't necessarily cater to his strength or his preference, I think that's where he can sometimes switch off and you can lose him. I also believe that he doesn't really like to fight for his play. And my example of this is he went to Manchester United. Huge amount of money being paid. Ole came in. Ole at the start said he want to play with two up front. And two more mobile pacey strikers or what's not. He don't fit in. But at the end of the day, we can argue that Rashford or Martial is not the finisher that Lukaku is, right? We could argue that. Although I don't think Lukaku is the best finisher either. But he has more goals than them career-wise and, whatever the case may be, a lot more. But then he, immediately he wanted to go, right? Went to Chelsea. Like you said, I think the funny thing for me, I don't think his start was bad, but then he got the injury. Clearly, like I said, there had to be some disconnect in terms of how he felt that he should have been reintroduced into the team. And then is this whole thing about, I want to go back to Inter, or, and things like that maybe. And I also felt like this with Lukaku in terms of he's a tower striker. I know you said, his effort, A, B, C, F, G, whatever, don't move. He wasn't showing for the ball, blah, blah, or giving the movement that he wanted. But I always observe Lukaku I start games, Lukaku makes the run. He does, right? He will make the run.
Right.
But he's one of the strikers, right? He's not like a Luis Suarez or the same team in Werner that you mentioned, or Harry Kane or Sadio Mane, where if he met the run 3-4 times, the ball don't come, he can still make the run. Because at some point, I expect Trent or whoever met that pass. If Lukaku met that run 3 or 4 times, the ball don't come, I sorry for you. Boy, man, I reckon I run more.
That is a brilliant...
Huh?
Look, that is a brilliant point. I have seen that in so many games. A lot of people talk about the disconnect between Lukaku and Chelsea's other attacking players. Okay, you could see that in some games. But I remember there was a game, I cannot remember the game, but I remember there was a game he wanted Reece to play a pass. Reece didn't play the pass that he wanted. Reece, when Reece got the opportunity again to play the pass, Reece played the pass, and what Lukaku was? Nowhere to be seen.
I remember the game, but I can't remember the opponent. I remember that game though. Yes, exactly.
Don't get that.
And I've seen that. I saw that Man too. When he doesn't get the ball, he ain't making that run. He ain't making that run for 80 minutes. So you better try to pass the ball in the first 15 or 20 minutes and let you see that the ball don't come. Because if he make that run 2-3 times, the ball don't come, boy, look. See me? I make that run anymore. Say what? That's Lukaku. You know what I mean? That whole he's played with him. Then guys that you meet from very fast and start self when they don't get pass. I don't know. That's just my opinion or my perspective of Romelu. I do take your point. I believe that this had a role to play. I think that the injuries that Chelsea had, because I started season, let's say the first 10 games, the ball was coming relatively early and in the channel that he wanted the ball to be played. But then with the injuries, when he came back in the team, Chelsea were playing a bit differently and the ball wasn't coming as fast. Chelsea were playing a more possession-based, slow build-up type of game. Yeah. And I thought, he got frustrated, not receiving the ball to feet, not receiving the ball. When he trying to spin defense, not receiving the ball down the channel early enough, to not be caught offside or whatever. He got frustrated with those things. So, and then one that I can't excuse it for was for example, when you all build the ball up on the wing of the field, and ball coming to the box, Lukaku actually making a run to near post. He just standing
Exactly.
behind the defender, and it's almost like the ball got be edge perfect to find me because obviously defending a kind out. So
Exactly. And he had all the talk in the world when he came back about how I'm willing to do this for the team, and like I just tired of all these interviews that players just give when they come to a club though. I just don't know if to believe it or not. It just feel like beer smokes and mirrors.
but like
Honestly.
I said, when you told me that he said about he wanted to come back to Chelsea and he feels as though he had unfinished business. But when you left everything, you went to Manchester United and what Chelsea didn't Chelsea you didn't have unfinished business then. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like
And we knew that
everybody
Conte wanted him at Chelsea at the time. We knew that
exactly
Conte wanted him at Chelsea for sure.
exactly he offered Manchester United. So like I don't know how much unfinished business he could really feel as though he had, but yeah, just be happy get he off your books. But I was going to segue into the other significant outgoings that y'all have had. I think Rudiger is going to be a big miss. Um,
Yep.
I felt for a while that he was I told you that he was your best central defender when Lampard was playing because Lampard was cheap. But Rudiger's a big miss.
Just to
I
clarify,
yeah.
Lampard may be a sheep in terms of his managerial skills, but not as the legend of Chelsea Football Club that he is. Okay, don't be disrespecting my legend. Okay,
One
continue.
of these episodes being talk about Lampard and Gerrard, right? And in fact, I'm
Oh
going
my
to talk
gosh, we are not doing that.
because
We are
Lampard
not doing that.
Lampard. We should do a poll, and let the people
You know
decide
what? That
who
is
they
a
think better.
great idea. That is a fantastic idea. We do
No,
the
no, don't
poll
try to.
first and then we record the episode.
Cool. Call Lampard in the blast again.
Oh my
You know what I'm saying?
gosh.
In fact, no, I tell you, Lampard's a good player. But anyway, I get off topic now.
You
But
are.
but Lampard, sorry, not Lampard. Rudiger, I think Rudiger is a big miss. I think Christensen is a big miss too because I think he's at a stage of his career that you guys would have hoped that he would have stayed and elevated the defense, and really become a stalwart. So I mean, I like the little boy Chalaba that was playing here and there. I think Malanga Sar is a good guy to have as a somewhat deputized occasionally. But I do feel as though maybe y'all
Emphasis
might need
on
to bring in
occasionally. Emphasis on occasionally
right.
was sorry.
Yeah, but I do think you all need to bring in a additional central defender just to compensate for the Rudiger and Christensen exits. I saw that Nathan Ake would have been linked with a return. I
Look,
don't think that he's the answer.
listen to me. Don't get me started on them Aki rumors. Like, I am all for backing the manager. And if Tuchel sees something at Aki, he said he wanted it since Dortmund days. I get that. But my frustration with Nathan Aki is this. Nathan Aki came through the academy, was at Chelsea. Nathan Aki went on, I think he first went on loan, and then we sold him to Bournemouth. We
Yes,
sold him
correct.
to Bournemouth with a matching rights clause in the contract. When City went to buy Aki, this was when Lampard was the manager. We actually had the opportunity to take him back. Not saying we should have, because at that time we had Tomori before he followed with Lampard. We had the father Gehi on loan, who we wrongfully, in my opinion, sold to Crystal Palace. Our centre back roster was pretty full, so I didn't mind not taking him back. But to have had the opportunity, and then he was at the club before, and now we want to buy him back for what City wants, like what, 50 million? That's really gonna make Chelsea look like clowns, though. Honestly, in my opinion.
Right. All right. Well, no money's talk. Bring a
But
chat. But I mean, he's
I
like
would take
27, right?
around there.
Yeah, so that's a good issue for the fan. I could see why City would tell you bring 50 million because you're a direct competitor. He's young enough that he can be he has sell-on value when Chelsea acquires him again.
He's not a
And
50
I
million
could
centre
argue
back, though.
that his best years are still ahead of him, right? He just needs an opportunity to play regularly in a team. So I can low key understand why Man City would tell you, get a checkbook and come.
Look, if we had to get Matthias de Ligt, I would be happy. I've always been a fan of his. I haven't seen much of Kunde. We've been linked with Kunde. We've agreed
For a
personal
while, yeah.
terms with
For a while,
Kunde
yeah.
since last year, but for some reason we're not moving forward with the deal as swiftly. I've heard people say that It's just we're not pushing it because it's just a matter of activating a release clause. I don't know how true that is, but we seem to have shifted our focus more to delete. But Bayern want him too, so I don't know how that's gonna go. But we definitely need reinforcements in central defense for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, like you said, it's still early days. I think the Premier League season starts on August the 6th, I believe.
Yeah,
It's still a bit of
actually,
time to get.
exactly a month from now.
Yeah, but
Oh.
when is the transfer window end? In August again?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Okay.
the end of August.
Right. So
I think so.
there's still some time to get some fresh players in. But as you know, like you said, the club was recently sold. Um, New owner, you want to make a statement, and clubs are aware that you come in with your cash but to get players, right?
Exactly.
So again, add on a value tax.
And that's
So
basically what seems to be happening. It's very annoying.
yeah, pay a premium, if you want if you want these people.
I really need to understand how Barcelona gain this money because, as everybody knows, we agreed if we Leeds accepted our bid for Rafinha, and now because Rafinha is Barcelona is Rafinha's first choice, I can't begrudge a man for wanting to go to dream club. But it's how Barca expecting they barely have only been able to register Frank Kessie and Andreas as free agents. They want Lewandowski, they want Rafinha, they want Kunde. Where they can get any money from? Just offsetting me, man. Honestly.
Mm. Well, they think Barca might be a bit cash strapped, but Barca is a big club, a destination club, still is a destination, a legend for coach is Xavi. So top players still
I
won't go to
say
Barcelona.
no. I don't. I'm not saying not. I believe Barcelona is one of the biggest clubs in the world. My thing is, Barca can't afford these players, but they're still buying them. Talking about Frankie ain't for sale, but yet they still need Frankie's money to buy other players. So it's my issue is not players wanting to go there. If that's their dream, that's their dream. My issue is Barca does not seem to be in the financial position to be making these deals, but they seem to want to buy everybody in Europe.
I don't think it's everybody, but what I was trying to say
Most
though,
people, most good
yeah, but
players.
what I was trying to say is not it's not I was saying that players won't want to go to Barca. I'm just trying to say that like I think Barca is such a destination club. Still, that players are willing to work with will be willing to work with Barcelona to find to meet an agreement or come to a situation where the transfer can't take place. I believe that's the case. I believe that's what you're seeing here. Because, like, for example, why would somebody want to go to a club that almost bankrupt and might go sell the best assets? It's not sensible, right? But Barcelona is still a prestigious club to the extent where I still willing to go there. I still willing to have discussions with you and see what deals can be made. I might even stay at Leeds and wait out a year, to come. So yeah,
Oh, fair enough.
but not Mr. Rafinha or whoever else want to go to Barcelona. Yeah.
Yes,
So
I know. I don't think Barcelona in market for Andrew Catwell from Barbados. So I know you didn't mean it.
there should be man. It kind of worse. It kind of worse.
Oh my
Really
gosh.
man, really man had a friend, Bradford. Kind of worse. It kind of worse. So
Martin Braithwaite, man.
they come at me. Yeah, man.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so this has been a lengthy one. But that kind of brings us to the end of our transfer show part 1. Part 2 will feature my London rivals. What are they called now? Spurs and Arsenal.
And you being
London
respectful,
rivals.
man.
Sorry,
We
Tottenham
talking about
Hotspur
Gunners, man.
and Arsenal Football Club, as
Correct.
well as the currently shambolic Manchester United. So, to all our viewers, thanks for listening and stay tuned for part 2.
Yep.
This has been The Dugout with Andrew and Marissa.
Bye.